Good evening. We'd like to call the Board of Trustees meeting to order. Item 2, which is the election of officers, and our attorney has been, he will be a little tardy because there is a wreck on I-20. So what we're going to do is table item A2 until the attorney gets here, and then wherever we are, we will stop and have the election of the officers. So at this time, we will skip to B, which is the invocation, and Pastor Michelle Johnson.
Motion to table? We need to make a motion to table?
Yeah, you want to?
Yeah, can I make a motion we table A2?
Second.
Removed and properly second. Are you ready to vote? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion is approved. Pastor Johnson, please come up and give us a word of prayer.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here praying for the school board. Would you bow your heads with me, please? Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we first bless you and we thank you for this opportunity to pray. God, I ask that your wisdom, your guidance, your knowledge rest upon this meeting, Lord God. God, we ask you to protect all of these board members, the superintendent, our schools, our children, Lord God. We thank you for protecting them. God, give them wisdom. Lord, loose the fruits of the Spirit throughout our community, throughout our schools, Lord God. And God, we thank you for unity. We thank you for strength. We thank you for their undying and willingness to serve this community during this pandemic. God, thank you for their hard work, determination, and their vision. Bless our school district and help us, I pray in Jesus' name.
Amen. Amen. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay. Is there a motion to adopt the agenda?
Make a motion to adopt.
Second.
Removed and properly second. Are you ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion is approved. Mr. Secretary?
Board members, you have before you the minutes from our regularly scheduled board meeting on February 25th and our special call meeting on March the 3rd and the 10th. Are there any additions, deletions, corrections to the presented minutes?
Yes, sir, Mr. Secretary. Under the special call meeting, March the 3rd, there was a notation that waiting on the cost of the electronic items damaged by water. Mr. Sturgis requested that someone go through the band director's list and have him to justify the cost, which I did not do. I would like that stricken from the minutes, please.
Okay. Any other changes? All right, seeing as none with the amended changes to the March 3rd, I make a motion we accept the minutes for February 25th and March 10th as presented, and with the corrections for the March 3rd minutes that Mr. Sturgis.
Second.
Removed and properly second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion is approved. With that, I would like to know though, because we talked about it in a special call meeting, did Dr. Nelson, the records he provided, did someone go and look at what was supposedly done or?
Yes, Preston Naylor did that.
Okay. Well, let's say that we've opened up a Pandora's box. From now on, when we have records like that, from this day forward, we will have everybody records checked behind somebody else, because that's wrong. And I'll say it up front, if he's the band director, if he's the superintendent, and we pay them money to do their duties, it is not right for that to happen. And I'm gonna say this, and I'm apologize to my wife now, so when somebody calls, please tell her I apologize to her up front. It is wrong, it is the Jim Crow way, and if we have this happen again, which is gonna happen from this day forward, we're setting a precedent that is not right. With that, Mr. Superintendent, your comments?
Yes, sir. We had an incredibly busy month as usual. We are starting this with, and I mentioned to y'all, we had a longtime serving board member that was finding the pasture, if you will, with the FCA, but he's had a lifetime of service to this organization, and he was presented with his beautiful plaque, and we're going to give it to him. And it says, presented to Alonzo Stevens for 43 years of faithful service to God through FCA as a coach and a volunteer. And that is from the Mississippi FCA, and it is dated March the 23rd, 2021. He's made a lot of differences in a lot of lives, and through this particular organization, those that last forever. Thank you so much, Coach. Really, this first bullet here that I've got is really just an update because we don't have anything official yet, but y'all know I've served with the Institute, the National Institute of Historically Underserved Students, which its primary goal is to increase college access and success once they arrive on college, and I've been kind of the K-12 representative. That organization has applied for a Kellogg grant. The first grant is $1 million. After the first year, you're eligible to apply for the second tier, which is $10 million. And most of the work that we've been doing around our 4 exit strategies and preparation, this will give us some structures to be able to expand those efforts and to make it a national opportunity for students to be able to follow a similar pathway in other districts. So we were pretty excited that we were asked to be a part of that, and I'll be giving you more updates as that comes along. And
So we're applying for it, or?
they're applying for it, the organization is, but they've asked for us to be the K-12 representative for the nation for that organization. So that's a pretty big deal. Construction punch list, my days run together, y'all. I have no idea. I think that's all I do is I wake up and go to a building and we walk around and point things out. I think overall, most of our projects are fantastic. I think the groups that we have chosen to execute our projects are doing a fantastic job. But with any construction work, any of you have ever done it, you know the slow, laborious time where you come in and start pointing out the fine edges, and we're doing that now. So some of the projects will be coming to conclusion here pretty quickly. That's one of the exciting parts about a punch list walkthrough. So. Had a bunch of virtual meetings. We had the MDE, Mississippi Department of Ed Superintendent's meeting. Got to share a lot of what we were doing there by request. ESSER funds are coming in. We met with a couple of those. We did an advisory update, and we had a first iteration, and we're spending those funds. There was a second allocation to our district, which was a grand total of $11 million, and it had specifics of how that money can be spent. And I mentioned to y'all before the difference between most federal monies, it comes in restricted for administrative costs, which is only 2%. These are unrestricted funds, which allow for 17% in all, set aside money in that. So what we've done at this point is we've gotten all the directors' feedback, principals' feedback of wish list items, and then we have the big need items. The things we know we're going to spend money on for sure is completing our safety, security, professional development, and teaching tool of the audio enhancement in all of our buildings. I know that in the bond project, there was a lot that came out of the first round. That's the first proposal. Of course, y'all be approving anything we do. And that to get every building with access in that. The other thing is we know that even though our data doesn't have huge discrepancies between some of the virtual students and our in-face instruction, part of the funds are allowed to have some summer programs. I've wanted them for years. We've talked about boot camps, and we've had a few of those. We're going to have an incredibly robust summer opportunity for some learning, and Dr. Germany's finalizing those, and we can't wait to share them with you. So that'll be coming up soon. The other thing is HVAC upgrades and HVAC air purification and quality. We've put out a couple of tentacles to try to figure out what solutions are out there, and we're going to be putting together once approved an RFP to go out and allow different companies to bid with the specs of that. So all of our new projects, 100% of all the upgrades that we have already have a system, and I'm going to way under explain this, But in a nutshell, it does something chemically or electric charge and makes all the particles that come out in the air. Not only does it purify it in the airways themselves, but it purifies the things that it lands on once it comes out. So in essence, you've got constant purification from viruses and bacteria that are happening in these new areas. One of the things we want to do is get all of our rooms in all of our buildings, so all of our adults and all of our students are protected in that same way. COVID may be a thing that, or I pray it is anyway, once everybody gets their vaccinations in and we see a sharp decline, it's not going to be the last virus or bacteria or emergency. So this will be a long-term solution to really be preemptive on some of those upcoming issues. So we've been very fortunate. We hadn't had, I think it's, of course, one of them was spring break, so it doesn't really count, but 2 weeks prior to that, we've had no outbreaks, no reports, any humans, any students with COVID. We hope we're on the tail end of that. But again, that's another guaranteed we're spending the money on, assuming y'all approve it. Got to participate in the Forward Next Generation Superintendent's Council. Got some great feedback there. They actually used part of what we did as part of their publication. So there's a couple quotes that'll be coming, and I'll slide them your way when they get here. Summer learning budget and planning meetings, been a lot of influence there. We started our walk in the young kids, then to K-8, and now we're all the way up in high school offerings of how we're going to be able to do that. I think what we're kicking the ball around right now is a 6-week program. It's going to have transportation, food. We've got a lot of interest at this point, so we'll be putting those letters out pretty soon to begin to invite students. We had our MSU Alcorn State University Engineering course update, and it took us a couple years to make all those parts fit together. We are still continuing that in this upcoming year. Despite COVID, we have accumulated, because there's prerequisites for students to be able to take that course. They have to have calculus and chemistry and a 18 on the ACT composite minimum. Am I leaving out another one? And then so we have to schedule sophomores. So you're 2 years out planning filling the class, because you have to have the students with the prereqs in there. And we were getting our list together for that. So Prep's virtual creative awards ceremony, our district, they had 4 exemplary awards that were given. And we won 2 of them. I was pretty excited about that. One of them was the exemplary virtual open house. As y'all know, every month we traditionally had a in-person first Tuesday of the month, or first Tuesday of the month, and we had thousands of people come to Vicksburg to tour. And when COVID hit, we shifted our focus from, obviously, because nobody could be here, to a virtual format. And it's been wonderful because we got to spend more time focusing on the individual parts, because when people would visit, it would take an entire day, and they would just, it felt sometimes rushed because you hit your pre-K all the way through your post-secondary programs, and you just get a little snippet. So all of these are available online. You can go in and click on any one. I noticed, board members have been in and out throughout this time, but we submitted that. They were incredibly impressed, and our real award is coming when it gets here. I'll show it to you. The other was Exemplary Empowering Parents Award. That was based on a thought exchange during COVID, and we had 27,000 ratings and feedback on the concerns around COVID. We sent it out to our parents, our students, and we took what they said to heart as we put structures in place for the opening of school. Very clearly, our community wanted almost down the middle, wanted different options, and this board responded to that and gave every parent a choice to either be at home or in person. And so anyway, you'll be receiving that award when that comes to. Oh, sorry, Sid. Virtual tour of Dana. Now all of them do great, okay? Every single one of our tours has been fantastic. But if you got time to watch one of them, you got to watch Dana. I'm telling you, those little kids, they just blew me away. That particular tour, we get a keynote every one of the tours. That particular one was Sean Covey. the CEO, executive founder of the Franklin Covey organization. His dad was Stephen Covey, and he was our keynote speaker, and he spoke directly to us, gave some amazingly positive comments about our district. One that I am going to say out loud in this board meeting, he said if every district was every district should be run like this one, and if it was, the world would be a better place. Multi-billion-dollar author, nationally renowned, translated in 70-something languages. To say that about what we're doing, that was a pretty good indicator of the work that you're doing as a board, what you've driven, what you've supported, you know, and anyway, it was an amazing one to watch. K for the Day just came out. I got to wear a suit that day, and we stood out there, and I think we handed out 100-ish packets that morning. It was a drive-through operation. We handed out a book with some information for every one of our upcoming pre-K students. We had daycares that showed up, and parents and the students alike. And then we launched that actually a little earlier this week, and I read the book with them. Been a long time since I got to sit in the classroom and read a book. It was pretty cool, even though it was virtual. And the students had the book that we gave them to read along with us. And then they were able to preview their individual schools, because each school had a little section there, and to just make them feel like, to feel safe and know that coming back to school is going to be fun, and kindergarten's great. Then we participated in something that I don't know. I know I haven't done it since I've been a superintendent, and I can't recall a time where the department head of the federal education entity came on and had a literal summit with us. The First Lady led off, and it was spectacular. When they began to talk about the transparency of where we need to be from a national platform. You know, that's the kind of guidance you want to hear above you. And so much of what we've done in COVID, even from our state level, we've just not heard a whole lot. And we would have to get into things before we would get advice about stuff we were already doing. So it was nice to know that we have not only was he a teacher, he was a principal, assistant superintendent, who is now the superintendent of education for the Department of Ed. Couldn't be more excited about the way we're moving towards education based on that. So it's available online if you want to click on it. Gave a lot of good guidance there. I know it was long, but it was really good stuff this month. So I appreciate the time, and the rest of it yours, Mr. President.
Thank you. This time we'll have Mark with Bailey Program Management. Mark?
Yes, sir. How are you doing tonight?
And Jason's usually pretty fast, Mark. I don't want to prep you.
I'm going to try to get through this pretty quickly. I think Jason sent you guys the update. I'm going to go through the active projects first, and then there's, at the tail end, some items that I'd like to go over that some require board action, others just an update on what we previously discussed at that last session. So I'll start with Vicksburg High School. Things are moving along well. The demolition work is basically completed throughout. They're in the phase 3, 4, and 5 renovation work that's around the cafeteria, the library, your new media center. That's progressing well, and right now we're tracking to be complete on schedule. Athletics phase 2 over at Vicksburg High School. Bob Jackson's doing that work. They too are finally making some good progress now that we've had a little bit of good weather. They're working in the concession stand and in your press boxes, getting your millwork in, air conditioning, some of the finishes like paint, PCT, the resinous flooring in the restrooms, that sort of thing. They're moving along pretty well. The dugouts, I believe, have been primed, maybe 1 foot of paint. So those projects should be wrapping up, hopefully, I would say probably end of April.
Fields are looking good over there, and I know Sid's excited about having some air conditioner up in there, aren't you?
Warren Central, as you know, we've had the Agora site issue that I'll talk a little bit later on that has delayed things, but they are progressing in other areas where they can. The ROTC area new admin area that's coming up, should be complete soon, and the construction lab should all be punched. They were getting ready to wax those floors, clean those areas, and we're hoping to punch those early next week so you can move in and occupy those spaces. They're progressing fairly well on demolition of the gym, and hopefully when we get this site thing going, we'll start seeing some work in the aurora. At the AOI, I believe that project is nearing substantial completion, getting ready for inspections. There are some items with the handrails, the lighting, and I think the canopy that's still being worked on with the contractor, and that should be progressing here soon. The two junior highs at Vicksburg Junior High, the new entry and concession, they're making good progress there. I believe they're working nights and weekends on their interior renovations and doing some of the site work, parking lots when weather permits. Similarly, at Warren Central Junior High, interior renovation work's going on at nights and weekends. Addition work is going on as they can, and as far as everything's progressing well there. Ovina and South Park have both been substantially complete. Some punch lists done. Closeouts have been submitted. They're being reviewed. I think we're still going to walk those areas with Mr. Sheila and Mr. Campbell. Let them walk through the schools, but the furniture's been delivered and installed. Beaumar, similar to the junior highs, they're doing interior renovation works at nights and weekends. Final work will be completed over the summer, as will the window work. I think they're making good progress on the addition masonry work, and even started some of the stucco applications. Beechwood, we'll talk about a little bit in the action item list, but that work is practically substantially complete. There's some defective work that needs to be corrected, and we'll talk about that. Redwood, I believe a final walkthrough was held earlier this week. There were some deficient items that are identified that the contractor needs to address and will be addressing. I think some of that work may actually take place over the summer. And then at Warrenton, the final walkthrough is supposed to be held somewhere in mid-April. I know I kind of ran through those quickly, but anybody have any questions?
Beth,
Coach Stevens.
I have one.
Coach Stevens has one.
I have one.
Okay.
Thank you. On the water issue at Vicksburg, how we came with that? Going
Yeah,
on?
that's, and you can update them on specific, but the contractor agreed with that, correct? On the instruments over there in the band hall.
Yeah, the insurance companies have been involved, and they're going through their due diligence, and I'm assuming because of the insurance companies' involvement, it may take a little bit longer, but I know they've all been queued up and are working on it.
Yeah, and moving forward.
Thank you.
All right, so now we'll get to some of the action items. The first one is on the Point Central baseball lighting project. That was completed quite some time ago. We had a final change with addition to the contractor along with the certificate of substantial completion, but has not been agreed to due to differences with liquidated damages and what we declared substantially complete. It's our opinion that they were 27 days late, which constitutes.
Hey, hang on just a second, Mark.
Damages.
Yeah, we were losing you there, but I'm gonna tell them what you said. Ultimately, the lighting out there has been concluded, but there's some disagreement about liquidated damages and timeframes. So we have presented them with what we believe they're owed and what their days over are gonna cost them, and they've refused to sign it at this point. So, and then you can go ahead and catch up from there. Isn't that what you said, Mark?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So what we're recommending is that the liquidated damages be assessed at $13,500, and that would be undisputed funds left in the contract are $12,100 that we recommend he be paid.
Yep.
Hey, Mark, it's Sally. Is that part of when we had our construction special call board meeting, was that 13 grand in part of what we had already talked about, we knew we were gonna have to spend? I don't remember it.
You don't have to
this-
spend that money.
Yeah, this is money coming back to us. Ultimately, they're trying to close out the project because it's completed, but they're taking liquidated damages because they took too many days.
Oh, I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
that's
I
different.
misunderstood. I misunderstood.
So-
I apologize.
So what his recommendation is we pay them the amount of money that they are owed, up to the point that we agreed they're owed, and then not pay them the rest because they're not, signing off on the order they've been given. So they just refused to close it out.
So Mark, what is the 13.5?
That is the liquidated damages.
Okay. and
That's
then-
coming off
Contract
of,
would be reduced.
Okay.
And you would not pay that.
Okay, and then the 12.1 is what?
Is the undisputed funds that they are entitled to.
Right.
For work completed.
So are you asking the board to approve the 12.1?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we just want to make sure we get,
yep.
So Mark, what is the disagreement?
They don't believe that they were late because the lights were functioning earlier than the date that we established. The problem was some of the cleanup and demolition work prevented the team from using the field. That there were cables and lines draped across dugouts and part of the foul territory of left field primarily.
Lights were working, but the punch list wasn't done. Is that
Right.
what he's saying?
Yep.
Okay.
So,
I'll make a motion that item 3A, we approve payment of $12,100 to, who's the contractor?
what's the name of the contractor, Mark?
I believe it's Southern Electric Corporation of Mississippi.
To Southern Electric Corporation of Mississippi, or to whomever.
Okay. There's a motion on the floor to pay Southern Electric $12,100. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. Are there any questions? Are you ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion is approved.
Okay, the second item is basically, I don't need any action, I just wanted to give you an update because we discussed this in the session about Vicksburg. As you recall, there were issues with baseball field, which we don't believe he's entitled to any money there. We maintain that he was late in completing the work and it's subject to liquidated damages. There is some work that he did not complete that he's offered a credit that we're going to recommend that we take. There's also in dispute the move costs that, one, we do agree he did some additional move services, but he is not substantiated to the extent that he's requesting payment. The amount. We've asked for additional information to document and substantiate his claim. He's not provided that.
So
And,
he's basically giving us a dollar amount with no evidence of where that dollar amount came from for moving expenses of furniture and, which was a part of their contract, but they had additional, because we had to vacate the building, teachers, were off contract, so there were additional moving costs. But they haven't given us any evidence of what that number came from.
How much
So,
was it?
For almost, 50-something,
$40,000.
yeah, 40,000?
yes, about 39.4.
Yeah, 39.4.
And so we're probably gonna have board council help us weigh in, push this forward.
Do you have an idea of how much the credit is going to be?
Well, I do know that none of the allowance was used, that was $20,000. And then the room's not painted, he's offered a credit of about $4,200.
24 grand.
Okay.
But he still has items of work that don't meet the standard of the punch list too, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So there's no action needed on this. That was for information only, that Beechwood still is a shit show.
Yep,
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
that's the scientific term.
Thank you.
Item C?
All right, see, the aurora as you recall, we discussed this last time. I think the board in that special session gave us action to proceed with work up to $250,000. I do have a change order proposal from the contractor to do that work totaling $232,855. What I guess we've asked the board to do here is, and I'm not even seeking board action, is that we could move up to $250,000, approve this change order, and move forward with the work.
Well,
Why did the
it wasn't
price change?
that
I mean,
amount.
What changed, I mean, the dollar amount that was presented to us in the special call meeting, how did that change between now and then?
In the special session, it was an estimated amount that we had. This is a change order proposal provided by the contractor.
Which is less than what we estimated.
We gave them a cap, because
Right.
based on the
Yeah.
estimate.
And this is the
they have an
actual-
estimate, so that's the 232.
Right,
So what did we originally approve?
250
A
was a
cap of
cap.
250.
All we approved was a cap.
All right, so you need to approve the 232 and why?
232 is like almost a little less than $8,000.
Do we have to
That we
approve
saved.
anything since we already approved a cap?
Yeah, this is the
Okay.
actual change order, because I'm not gonna be on the hook of signing, 230 grand.
You got $8,000.
Just so you know, just so you know.
So do we need to amend that other,
The-
can we just
the-
vote on
Because it was
this?
a cap, so we need to make a
We just
whole
need
new
to
thing,
we
right?
did- we
You just need to approve that
Yeah.
You just
proposal.
need to make a motion for
Right.
for this amount.
Right, but then that percent, that's gonna take the place of the other.
It will supersede that,
So
correct.
it was 232,855?
Yes.
I make a motion that we approve the change order for the Aurora site work, with the finalized price of 232,855, and this now rescinds our approval of $250,000 cap.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. Are there any questions? Are you ready to vote? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion is approved. Okay. D,
Okay. Vicksburg, I've got two change orders in process. Change order 18 has a number of minor wall changes, either in the cafeteria, the old library area, and in corridor near there. There is a small credit involved in one of those and some additions. The total change order is $5,861.01.
Does that include the brickwork we were talking about, or is that a separate issue?
That's a second
Okay.
one, the change order 19.
Mark, can you tell us the cents amount, 5,861 and change?
And 91.
you said that was a credit.
And that's for the low brick or for the wall changes?
This is for wall changes.
Okay.
in the Cafeteria, kitchen, and old library.
Okay.
And Mark, this 586191 is the balance of a credit and what you're asking for, is that correct?
Yes, sir. So it's an add to that amount.
Gotcha.
So that's using all the credit? Right, okay.
What's the pleasure of the board?
I'll make a motion that we approve the change order to Vicksburg Dining Hall, wall changes, change orders 18 and 19, in the amount of $5,861.91.
I think that would just be change order 18.
That's 18, okay, I amend to say only change order 18.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. Are there any questions? Are you ready to vote? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion is approved. Okay, item 19.
All right, change order 19 involves the dining area hall. There's a brick wall, if you remember, that used to be outdoors. That's now part of your dining.
So if you're standing in the cafeteria, it's that big wall that goes at the side that the ramp used to be on.
The existing concrete, leave that as a cap and remove the handrail. In doing that work, demolition and removing that handrail, the concrete that was left was falling apart, dilapidated, in poor condition.
Concrete
So
crumble.
what we're recommending we do instead of that is put a roadblock cap on top of that brick wall, all along the entire perimeter of the wall in that dining hall.
Okay, would you explain to a person who doesn't understand a road block?
I will, he's an engineer.
Okay.
So that wall that they took out, they used to have the ramp that goes up at the top. When they got to the top, they were just gonna cut those rails off, install the other ones. And when they did, all that just fell all apart and started crumbling because of the age of the concrete.
Okay.
So what they're gonna do is take that roadblock down. They're gonna make it even so that it's a linear, idea of forethought in the design to make it aesthetically pleasing and replace that with a brick cap going across. So it'll look nice, and from the top side, you'll have a brick ledge wall that's going to be going across the top.
You'd be able to look over it like this?
And you're going to have the handrails that are going to be installed there too. But that's just to take care of that wall that was aged. Did I do okay with that, Mark?
Yes, sir, very good. And that changed 17,792 and 72 cents.
All right, I'll make a motion that we approve the Vicksburg High School, brick wall changes, adding the roadblock brick in the amount of 17,792.72, which is change order 19.
I second the motion.
It's been moved and properly second. Are there any other questions? Are you ready to vote? All in favor say aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion is approved. E,
All right. Bomar Elementary, I don't really need any action. I was just gonna give you guys an update, which was also discussed in that session. There are a number of items that are being addressed, looked at, priced, some will possibly end in change orders. And, it requires board action, we'll bring it to you this month. Also, we are still trying to schedule that meeting with Pratt, Daily, and engineers to look at that duct issue up on the second floor. And hopefully I'll get that scheduled in the next week or so. Any questions?
no.
All right, last item. Vicksburg High School athletics. As you recall, last special session, we talked about the delays that the contractor incurred due to the city water leak. And we talked about two different time frames. 155 days that we thought there was a cost subject he was entitled to. And then an additional 124 days that there would be a cost. So we are preparing a change order to extend the contract to 279 days. Related to that, he gave us approval to negotiate with them a not to exceed amount of additional cost. I believe we told you about $108,000. We were able to negotiate that change down to $86,255.
I know, right?
But still the 200 and something days?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am, 279 days.
279 days.
We need to
Yep.
approve that?
Year end song. Yeah.
We do?
We gotta approve that?
Yeah, y'all already approved that.
No. okay.
Why is that different than the other?
This is
The
just
day
information.
extension?
This is just information only.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mark,
Thanks, Mark, that's good work, man.
Thank you, Mark.
Mark, may I ask you one question? I know
Yes.
you've gone over it, but just for aesthetics purpose here, the ingress and egress at Vicksburg Junior and Vicksburg High, where people will actually be able to go in, do you know about when that's gonna be finished? The front corridor, going in and going out of the buildings,
And
Vicksburg Junior High and Warren Central Junior High.
I believe that's over the summer.
Okay.
I can verify that and get back to you for sure.
Thank you.
Anything else?
No other?
You're a pretty good replacement for Jason. Good job, Mark.
Nice.
Thank you.
Got no duty.
Thank you, sir. Okay, now we're at G for the financial report.
Have y'all met Cassandra Lewis yet?
No.
She's your new business manager.
I
I knew that's what you were writing there.
See me going?
She actually comes to us from us, so we were excited to be able to move her into position. The learning curve's there, very familiar with our organization. She actually worked at, what's the name of that college? Alcorn State University, with a previous president over there, and she's been with us a couple of years, so we're very happy that Cassandra's here.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
I'll be giving the financial report for the day. You have your packets in front of you, so I'm not going to bore you with a lot of information, just some highlights. Our reconciliation for February 2021 has been reconciled with no differences.
That's good.
You notice that at the checkpoint, a good checkpoint is the ending bank balance for January 21 is the beginning bank balance for February 2021. Okay, for your statement of cash flow, the February shows an estimate until the bank reconciliations are completed. Once they're completed, you will see that the month's numbers will turn from estimates to actuals. Your February is showing an estimated cash balance of $30.5 million, which is an increase of the $17.7 million that is attributed to our ad valorem collected in February. You can see this is consistent with the district maintenance fund balance as well on the statement of fund equity. Our ad valorem tax collections, year-to-date, we've collected $26.4 million, with the $17.7 million, of course, coming in the month of February. Even though there is a drop in our February collections that you'll see on your spreadsheet from this time last year, your January collections increased $1.1 million to offset that. So if you see that drop, your January and February collections combined will offset that deficit. It is our hope that we can keep this steady trend throughout the remainder of the fiscal year. Next, our MAEP collections. We received our appropriation for the district of $2.43 million for February, which brings our year-to-date total to $19,155,469, which is consistent each month and follows a trend. We are not anticipating any shortfalls with that. It's usually pretty consistent. Last but not least, our casino revenue. Our year-to-date collections is $315,000. You will see that this did not change, so you'll see a zero on your spreadsheet from January to February, and that's because due to the winter storm, we did not receive our February until March. So that we're reporting now on our February, but by March, you'll see that change. And it is consistent with what our flow has been. So as you can see, we are staying in with our projections and performing better than expected in some areas. It is our hope that this trend continues throughout the remainder of the fiscal year.
Ms. Lewis,
Yes.
I think you answered part of my question here. On the casino revenue, the December showed a zero from the city, and then February showed a zero. So you said that the December was in January and...
That's correct, yes.
And then the February is in March?
That's correct, and it's through the timing.
And have we received our March yet?
No.
Okay, so how does that affect, because our money goes into an interest-bearing
right.
account,
That's right.
correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so they're siphoning off the interest whilst we don't get
We
any
don't get it,
interest.
that's right.
Is that correct?
Yes.
That's correct.
Okay, so have you contacted them to see when it's going to be?
It happens 3 months out of the year, every year for us, has been for the last,
I know.
we'll just.
You know, where they're saying that,
For the last-
they're gonna blame, COVID on this one, so that's why I was just asking.
Well, we have received our March.
You have
what's that
received
date?
it?
Yes,
Do you know how much it is?
52,000.
That sounds like what we normally get.
Right, that's not
March.
February and March.
Right, so when are we gonna
Right,
get the?
that's not February and March.
So-
That check was actually the check we should have gotten in February.
Oh, so we
Okay.
haven't gotten the March.
We have not gotten.
We
the
got
March
February
yet.
and
Right,
March.
right.
Right. So we still have what?
That's 'cause
So-
they-
so we're waiting on-
Yeah, we still have a week that hopefully we can, yeah, we will receive that as
So
well.
they've cycled off 25 days of interest.
This
Yep.
is correct.
You sound like you
And
used to be a
they-
banker or something, huh?
They do it 3 months at least out of the year.
Yeah.
I make a motion we accept the financial report.
Moved and properly second. Are we ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion is approved.
Mr. President, may I interrupt for just 1 second
You
while we're
may,
on
ma'am.
financial? I would like to recognize Dorothy for her hard work and jumping in and pitching and being a hell of a team player at a time when we really needed somebody to just jump in and pitch it. And
She is
as a
I'll
amazing.
second
board,
that.
I know how much we all.
Absolutely. And she didn't even give me
She
very
never
big
even
doe
gave
eyes
us one.
when I asked her to fill in during the time when we found out. She was incredible. Not only did she do all of the responsibilities of what she was normally responsible for, but she facilitated conversation. She expanded the work of the entire team, brought them together in an incredible way. Hats off, and we love her to death and appreciate her so much.
Madam Vice
Yeah,
President,
thank you.
I appreciate you. I did have one more question from Ms. Lewis, but I'll ask it next month.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam.
I got
Write it
off
down
the
so you don't
hook.
forget it now.
She'll like me twice as much
I know,
now.
right? Okay, at this time, we're at H on the agenda,
Do we need
as in
to
Henry.
accept the report?
Got it?
Yeah, she did,
We
didn't
Yeah, we did.
We voted.
Okay,
I
wake up,
made the
Dave.
motion.
Hey, Brian.
So,
Okay, do we have any items that need to be pulled? Any items that need to be pulled? Okay, since we don't, I'll.
I make a motion that we
Well,
accept the
no,
consent
no,
agenda.
no, no. I have some items here. You saw my circles here. I need to pull 2, 5, 9, 10, 12, 15, 18, 19.
Oh, wow.
Two,
I need a
five,
pen.
nine.
When
2,
you get done.
5, 9 and 10,
2, 5,
9, 10,
9, 10,
12,
12,
15,
15,
18, 19 is not bad as you think.
18, 19. Yeah, there's
It's
about
not
7
bad
you
as
didn't
think,
get.
Madam Vice President.
Tried. Sonny, I was trying. I was talking as fast as my bored mouth could go.
Put you on the river.
No, anyone else? I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda with the exclusion of H2, 5, 9, 12,
10, 12, 10, 12,
10, 12,
15.
15, 18, and 19.
Second.
Been moved and properly second. Are you ready to vote? All in favor say aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion is approved. On H2, I just need to mention that, and I did talk to Dorothy, and let me thank you, Dorothy, but the only thing we didn't get, the people must be didn't send the electricity bill back. So I'll be waiting to see for that right there.
We have reached out to Entergy on 2 occasions and we've still not gotten the information from them. So
Yes.
I have another contact that I'm gonna, give to Mike and maintenance.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much for that. Okay, there were, and on, also, there is, it's gonna be on page 2. There were some, it's gonna be item number 406, and it's a roof repair. I just need to know where that roof repair was done.
Which,
Coleman Roofing, is that the
406.
2-0?
Yes, sir. 5850, 5710. And then one other item is gonna be item 1728, item 1728. And my only question is, do we pay them that amount weekly bi-weekly or monthly?
I don't know. I'm
Where's
sorry.
1728? On the same
That's
page?
way in the back.
Oh,
It's
okay.
way in the back. I'm sorry. It's way in the back.
What's the vendor?
Kelly Service.
Oh, we pay them monthly, correct?
That's a
Oh,
monthly.
weekly?
Weekly.
Yeah, 'cause yeah.
There's a weekly invoice.
Yeah.
It's a nice little chunk for a weekly.
Let's go with that, all of
But it's
our-
not, yeah, it's not necessarily that much each week. And most of the cost within Kelly Services are your long-term subs, your pregnancies, your illnesses. And if you take those out, the regular teacher sub days aren't that many. And we've done this kind of in the past and, you know, had a big summit around it to try to reduce those costs within that, talk to principals about covering areas that we can without getting those sub
I'm
costs in there.
sorry, I'm lying to you all, not Kelly Services. I apologize. I stand to be corrected. Staffing Solution.
Staffing solutions.
I stand to be corrected. I'm wrong.
Food services.
That's child nutrition. That's all of our cafeteria work.
Yeah, we pay them every month.
Oh, just a monthly deal? Okay,
That's the cafeteria work.
okay. Okay. I just
They're
want to
the
make sure
ones
that's
that
a
put you on the
monthly.
bus and they're gonna ship you out.
That's right,
Like,
make you pass out
What's that?
everything.
They're the ones that are gonna put you back on that bus and ship you out.
I've already
if you aren't
gotten the
nice.
call. Thank you very much. So
Said
I
don't
just
plan
wanted to
nothing
make-
for summer, huh?
I know, right? Okay, I just wanted to make sure. So with, that's all I have on that?
I make a motion that we approve H2.
Moving to proper second, are you ready to vote? All in favor say aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion is approved. Only thing I want to say on item 5, it is a very, very great MOU, and I'm going to do what I shouldn't do, and that's assume that the attorney has looked at this. But if you would,
Yes.
I think it's a call for people to know what this MOU is, because,
I almost put it on discussion.
yeah,
just so
what
I
you
could
want
tell
to,
y'all.
you want to tell them what it is?
Yeah, what we-
I really think people need to hear this.
What we've done is we've partnered with William Carey, and it's just one of the partners we have. We have partnership with Mississippi State, Alcorn State University, Hines Community College. What this is trying to do is provide opportunity for our students who are in our district that want to be a teacher. What we have the opportunity to do, if a principal chooses to do so, there's no, mandatory requirement there, but William Carey agrees to allow them to come for half tuition. If we hire them as a teacher assistant, they do all that work. Prior to, all they need is 12 credit hours. They can get them anywhere. They can get them at William Carey if they want. They can get them at Mississippi State, Alcorn, Mississippi State, Hines, wherever. Those 12 credit hours are required. In essence, what we get the opportunity to do is we get to wrap around a blanket 50% scholarship for anybody that wants to teach here. William Carey will keep them online, walk them through. They do all their internship hours, and the way the law is written, it allows them to do their student teaching while a teacher assistant on site. So,
And they'll get retirement.
and that's correct. And so instead of waiting until you complete your degree to get your first job, you're working for a district, so that gets you 2 more years in there. It was a beautiful brainchild. There's some universities out there that just have no problem whatsoever going, we'll do whatever you need, and William Carey is one of those. So we had, actually, the first conversation was probably, it was in Mass 2 years ago when we started putting this together, because if you'll remember, they came and did a prospective teacher meeting, and anybody who had a bachelor's degree that wanted an alternate route certification, they kind of talked them through what they needed to do to get that. We've actually had, I think, Mark Hughes' daughter went through a very similar process. We hired her, she was able to go through that. This is just putting it in a more formal context, so we're very excited about this, very excited.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes,
That's-
sir.
That's really just for information only. I think it's something that you want to be a teacher, this is the route to go.
That's
I
right.
make a motion that we accept line item H5.
Been moved and properly seconded, ready to vote, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign, motion is approved. Madam Secretary said I skipped that one. On 9 and 10, all we need to know is, so do we need to, oh, yes, I do need to know about this one, because Dr. Prather used to do this. On the consultant professional development achievement here. And normally during the summer months, Dr. Prather used to have, and I know we shouldn't regress, but she would ask for a company to come in to catch up on the paperwork. But what this I've read here is saying that they're gonna do that, so I'm gonna do again what I shouldn't do, and that's assume that
That's the
we
same
won't
thing
need this
we've always
company in the
done, right.
summertime. Is,
Ms. Scott.
uh-huh,
Yep, there she is.
Yes, what she's coming for was, is Ms. Taylor with a T Consulting, we were monitored back in October, and we had about 19 findings. So we're having to respond to those findings, and we write some procedures in our procedure handbook. And so she is assisting me with responding. She's a monitor also at MDE, so she has firsthand knowledge of exactly what they're looking for, so she's gonna help me respond to those findings.
which I heard she said. Would somebody decipher that, please? I couldn't hear her.
She's, we got the federal audit just came through amongst the other 15 that we're doing right now. And they give you a feedback report. Unlike the kind of the state audit process, most audits roll and they give you an opportunity to respond, correct, move, give those. And then at the end of the close of that, if they're corrected, then they're no longer findings. This is a person that'll be working with Alandra to get that done.
Okay, so this is for a report and not for our file?
That's not for the filing the paperwork.
Yeah,
the
yeah,
extra
right,
days.
right, okay.
But you
okay.
just told her that you gave it to Laura. Now she's gonna come ask for it since you said it.
Okay, well, that answers my question. Thank you. That's all I
I make a motion, we accept line item H9.
Second.
We moved in proper second. Ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion is approved. I have no clue as to why I did H10, so would you approve that, please?
I make a motion, we accept line item H10.
We moved in proper second. Are you ready to vote? All in favor say aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion is approved. On H12,
Yep. That was a $400 a day one, right?
on the, how well is our, on this, I see you added a school, one school, and on this educational resource,
That's our CNAs.
uh-huh. And I was wondering how well they are doing with the services, they being the schools, using the educational resources.
They haven't started, we haven't started yet. We had to add the school before they can make the website live.
Okay, is this the first time?
Yeah, is this is a different company than we normally utilize?
This is the first, usually she would use Survey Monkey. And, we were going with this company because we have to have that comprehensive needs assessment. And so it's gonna go live where we send letters out to parents and various stakeholders, and they go onto a link and they respond to the survey question.
It had already been approved, but they left off one school. So
It's
we brought
it's
it
already
back to
been
new-
approved.
Yeah.
Yes, we just added the school.
Okay, so it's the April 21st through June 21st is just for the additional one school?
No, it's for all schools.
It's for all of them?
That's
So
when we go live.
Okay. So the horse is out of the barn because this was for April 1st.
We already approved it.
Yeah,
We
you-
just gotta approve this school that got left off.
Correct.
Which is the one school. Right, okay. Okay, which they added $850 to it. Okay, all right. That's all I have. Thank you.
I make a motion, we accept H12.
Been moved and properly second, ready to vote, all in favor say aye. Opposed, like sign, motion is approved. On H 18, thank you. Oh, were we supposed to?
No, 15.
No,
15.
15.
Are we supposed, because I didn't read this, I'm sure everybody else read it but me.
Oh, yeah.
Did, you're funny. Is this supposed to wait 30 days?
No.
No?
No, this
an
is
assessment.
this is our
It's not a
assessment. It's not a
policy.
handbook or
Oh, all right
policy.
then, all right, that's all I needed to know. Thank you.
I make a motion to approve
15.
H15.
Moving properly second, ready to vote, all in favor say aye. All opposed? Motion is approved. 18, thank you very much. Okay, only thing I have on this, I think is it a great summer camp, let me say that up front. I tried to call Mr. Harris, but I was unable to get a, answer. And I just was trying to figure out, and I'm sure he looked like he's from all over Vicksburg. And I was trying to figure out about how many of our students actually participate in this from the district. And is the camp here in Vicksburg or is it somewhere else?
Well, it says the destination is Vicksburg and surrounding area.
And it's from, it looked like they say from all over, students from all over. So I'm going to assume, and again, that's an assumption. So it's a total of 40 high school juniors and seniors participating in the camp, many from the Vicksburg, Warren County area, but some are from Louisiana too.
Yeah. Do you want to, you want me to
No,
find
I
that
don't
out
want-
before you approve it, or you want
No,
me to
no,
just
no, I
get
don't
you the
want to
info?
table it, but if you get that, somebody would
I
get that
sure will.
information for me, please. That's all. I just want to make sure that we're well represented and not cheated out of our students
They
with
want
our
us to
bus.
supply the bus.
Man, if you can't make it on time, just get here when you can, you know? We're glad you're safe, man. It was a tough road out there, wasn't it?
Still is. It's a,
Yeah.
it's a,
That's all.
It's time for you to.
We can approve
It's
it.
a wreck.
Yes.
Bad, very bad.
Make a motion to approve.
five cars, I think.
18, H18.
Make a motion to approve H-18.
Is there a second?
Second.
We moved in proper second, ready to vote. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion is approved. At this time, we will cease, we
Let's
will,
finish 19 and then we'll do that.
if you say so,
Then we
Madam
can finish
President.
consent. And
Okay.
then we'll go
Well,
Briggs.
okay.
We'll let him
See,
catch his breath.
I'm just a person of my word. When I say you come in, I would stop. But since you insist, we will do.
Let's finish all the consent.
Yes, ma'am, if you so say. Do we have a total cost on,
No cost to the district.
oh, wonderful.
That's pretty cheap, isn't it?
Well, with that, I'll just keep my mouth shut.
I make a motion to accept 19.
Second.
Moving proper second, ready to vote? All in favor, say aye. Opposed, like sign. We will digress to
Make a motion that
a
we put the, vote.
election of officers.
What are we doing? Oh, yeah, pull from the table the election of officers.
Yes. Mr. Attorney,
Yes, sir.
you're up, sir.
Okay,
Which is A2.
And I,
thank you. Thank you. A2, the motion was removed from the table. I think all voted in favor.
yes.
Yes, so we moved to that item, selection officers. So I will this time call for a nomination for president of the board of trustees.
Mr. Attorney, I'd like to recommend Mr. James Lee Sturgis Jr.
The motion from Coach Stevens is made James E. Sturgis Jr. the president. Is there a second?
I make a motion, for Kimball Slayton.
Well, first, is there a second
Oh, I'm sorry.
to the motion?
I second the motion.
Second to the motion, Ms. Bullard. The vote then on Mr. Sturgis, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Four.
Can I see her raise her hand?
Is it 4? 4-1. Mr. Sturgis is the president. Now, Mr. Sturgis, I'll turn it back over to you.
Need a nomination for the vice president.
Mr. President, I'd like to nominate Ms. Sally Bullock.
Is there a second? Sturgis, second.
Who did?
Sturgis.
Sturgis.
Are they all in favor of Ms. Bullock? By hand, show of hands.
5-0.
Ms. Bullock?
All right.
There's a nomination for secretary.
I'd like to nominate Mr. Brian Pratt, secretary.
It's been second. All in favor? By show of hands? All opposed?
Oh, I was. in
No,
favor.
it's you do it.
I was in
You
favor. I wasn't opposed.
Thank you. Yes,
I'm
sir.
sorry, that was Coach made for
Yes,
Ms.
sir.
Bullard. Who seconded?
For Ms. Bullock, Sturgis. Okay, we will go back now to the
personnel.
Oh, wait, that's a touchy one. I'm scared to touch J1.
I1.
That's-
No, it's consent.
I1
I'm not gonna
consent.
correct my president. I apologize, Mr. VP.
Oh, we on I1, I'm sorry.
No, we're on J1.
That's what I
Yep,
thought.
J1, it's a
J1.
discussion item.
Yeah, that's a.
Okay, we were contacted, and apparently in the past, that hadn't really been the protocol of what had taken place, and there's a group of citizens who come out to, and start correcting me when I'm wrong, because Doc's the man who's actually dealt with the issue. A group of, I guess, retirees or old alumnus, or they come out there for a day and sit under the pecan trees and kind of catch up with each other.
Crumbling building.
Correct. So when, of course, when she reached out to us, we responded with policy. We gave her the facilities usage, and there was some concern around, they were just coming out there and sitting, that they didn't have insurance, and that they didn't have any money to do that, which we told them that, that wasn't something that can be done, that we have to have administrative approval, and we would have to be creative if approved by the board to figure out who's going to be out there with them at that time. But she, Relief insisted that we bring that to you because it was a board decision. But you would have to waive their insurance and facilities usage fee. And Doc, you may have names if y'all have any questions about it.
Are they really using a facility or just the dirt?
Just the dirt.
It's just the dirt, because the facility is not usable. We're not.
It
letting
is
them in
not,
the building.
and under no circumstances
And
can
under no
anybody go
circumstances
in.
would we want them in the building
No.
because they don't have insurance.
No.
Okay.
Here's my only concern. If someone falls, who is responsible?
We are.
That's my only concern.
Can we have
Personally.
them sign waivers when they come up to the property?
Could, you want to pay to have them, and I could create a waiver for them, but that would be a unusual thing, for me to create a waiver for them to use your space, but certainly could be done.
And if you have a waiver,
And,
is that really a binding document?
or the camera, yes.
Yes, the cameras are on.
Yes, yes, it is, but, I mean, there are people
Right,
that try to
right.
get around them, Ms. Buller, to be frank. People will try to get around them.
Right.
Because, I'm with you, if they just using the dirt, but
Yeah.
I just don't want them to try to
No.
sue us.
Right, I mean, in the waiver, we could say you can't stand on the porch, take photographs with old pawpaw or whatever, you can't, right? No, with
I mean, if you want to get that detail, it's going to take a while to craft a waiver.
Okay.
They don't have insurance,
How
I
many
take it,
people-
right?
How many people, Doc?
She didn't give me a number, she just mentioned that, the different classes that graduated,
Can't be
just come to sit under the tree and catch up, and
How far back, Doc?
I'm not sure that either, Coach, I can find out those.
70-something at least with that
Huh?
one individual that spoke to
Yes,
us.
sir.
Be
Say what?
70-something years ago would
Oh,
be
yeah,
that
they're
graduating
old.
class.
Yeah, that's
That's
one
the
of my
dirt they're
fault.
walking.
Yeah.
Well, my recommendation would be that certainly you make sure somebody goes in there and cleans it, cleans it up and has it where you don't have any holes.
So we gotta
or
spend
any-
money to clean up something that they're gonna use, that they're not gonna pay
We
for,
got
and they
money.
don't have insurance,
We have maintenance.
right?
We
Still-
have maintenance.
Correct.
Still your property. I mean, I would recommend that as.
Right, I'm just,
You know,
and we have to pay you to draw it away, right? I mean,
that's correct.
Because with the facilities usage, that's normally one of the responsibilities of the people that use the
Right.
facility, is they have to provide their own security, they have to clean the area, and of course, during COVID, we've added that responsibility just as a protective measure, because we already pay for that service. And if anybody comes in during the time on the breach of the students, we're asking them to provide that too. And everybody, that's just where it is.
And they provide
Have we
insurance
done this
too.
before?
They provide
but
insurance.
they always.
Yes,
pay-
and insurance
Right.
and
It was
the
a
fee.
scam thing when they did it the last time, right?
And they accept responsibility in that, but you only have one person presumably signing for which they really aren't signing for an entire, but this is not an organization, it's just a loose affiliation. I'm not trying to make it more difficult than it is, but it's,
I just wanted to be transparent, because fundamentally, she said it had been occurring and no one was the wiser. But since it was brought to me, I'm following policy
Right, we're the
and
wiser.
procedure. So,
And I will say, I don't think it's gonna be much draw. I've drawn up the waiver before, that won't take much work, so it's not as though I'm gonna be spending more than, 15 or 20, 20 minutes, 30 minutes at the most, depending on, I may need to craft it for this group, depending on
But
what
don't
it
you
is.
think we need to do that?
standard waiver.
It would be a
To do a
wise
waiver, right.
decision, have them sign off. It's better than going without anything.
Do we need to keep them in one certain area of the property?
Then stay out front, but
Depends on
Because you
condition.
go around back, it's pretty nasty back there. There's some old cars back there and a few other things that, we would just tell them to stay in the front of the building, I guess. Or the softball field in the back.
What's the condition of the property now? I haven't been by there in a while.
It's hazardous.
Front's not horrible. I mean, T-Bows,
The parking lot's
Uses
not
for
bad.
parking.
they used it for parking and
Right.
people were walking back and forth all the time anyway. I mean,
Yeah, we went, it's been set on fire a couple times. It's got, as a matter of fact, the building to the left is the sheriff's department, uses it for live round shots and such. So that building's pretty tough. We got all the doors locked and chained, but apparently there's so many holes and stuff there, people will still tend to go in, because, and the last time I was in it was about 5 years ago, and I said I'd never go back in there. I mean, the floors, so, the property's different then, but,
Is it roped or cordoned off right now? Or
the
fenced
building
off?
or the facility?
The grounds.
Not the road.
The grounds.
No, not the grounds. And a few years back, I think we had an offer of like, gosh, that's a long time ago, $36,000 or so for the property, and under investigation, it wasn't something that the board wanted to move forward with, but because of what the board thought that property might be turned into, would be not supportive of the community, so that was kind of the reason that decision was made at that point. So, I get it, but
Well, I hate empty school buildings.
I do too. I
just
promised you
think-
I'm not gonna give you another one. I can't take credit for that one.
I think it's a terrible investment in our community for us to have an empty building. I think that we're better than that. I
do
think that
too.
we represent our community much better than having an empty building. Well, what's your recommendation, Briggs?
I'll do, if y'all want to use it, fine. Chances of anything happening are pretty slim, one. Number two, we can do a waiver, which is pretty good. That's better than nothing.
Could we get
And then
could we
I would
require,
definitely, regardless, I'd send somebody out there in maintenance to make sure you clean up if there are any holes on the grounds, or, I don't know what condition it's in, so it's hard for me to know. If it's, I know it hasn't been used in a long time, but they're going inside or not? Just-
No.
Well, then,
We
just
need-
clean up the
No.
outside, just clean up the outside real well, and
can we require everybody on campus there that day to sign that individual waiver? Or, because you're talking about individual responsibility that one human's gonna make for everybody that shows
no,
up.
you can't, you gotta have everybody do it, because
Okay.
there's no group that's taking responsibility. You need, each
And we would
member,
have
each
to
person
have
coming up.
an administrator that would have to be present during that time also.
And if they,
SRO,
Mr. Attorney, if
we
they,
have SRO.
Well, it really need to be an administrator due to
Couldn't we
the
like
facilities. No, we can have that too.
Because he's gonna be there.
I'd like to make a motion that,
may I ask one question, Coach, please? If I can remember my question. Mr. Attorney, if they do not sign the waiver, then they should not be on the property.
Correct.
Okay.
or should I put it another way? We are not responsible, right? If we have a waiver, I refuse to sign it, I go out there, I hurt myself, then we are not liable for that.
You'd be, if you haven't been given permission, you'd be trespassing
Right.
technically.
Okay.
And the law, the general law is that if you're trespassing, you're only obligated for something that was a hidden defect.
Okay.
I recommend anyway, this has probably been an older group.
Yep.
Way older.
You may have some people there that don't, get around as well. Not necessarily, but I just don't know. I don't know what, we're talking people that are 70, 80 years old or something,
Yeah.
some may
Yeah.
require some assistance, you never
Right.
know, but if you have a hidden defect there, you could be responsible for that under the general law.
Because to
But-
qualify for trespassing, it has to be posted, or the individual has to be warned prior to coming onto the property
Yeah.
that they're not welcome on the property, right?
Yeah, if you're an invitee,
Uh-huh.
which at that point, we're allowing them to come on the property, we're, saying it's okay for you to come on, then, your liability level is raised a little bit to ensure that, you've got things, in relatively good shape. And now if there's something that you couldn't have known about, then you should be excused from liability. There was no way to tell, something falls off a building, or, a tree falls over or something like that, then you probably wouldn't be liable. The chances of any liability are pretty slim, and most people would realize they're going out there as a guest anyway, but if they
Sure.
do fall, they know it's not the responsibility of the school. But I don't want y'all looking at me if somebody turns around and does something and say, well, I thought we were foolproof.
Yeah, because we're doing business on a curb right now from a basketball game. All right, so,
I'd like to make a motion that we, accept the motion of the, classes to go out with a signing of a waiver individually. That they accept any, liability. And also, Bridge, can we, when we check it, can we put up the same type, if we have, like, going around the back, and somebody want to put up that yellow tape?
Thank you.
Sure, I'd leave that up to your maintenance crew
Right,
to
right.
certainly block off any area that's not suitable for walking around.
Okay.
So, in your motion, Coach, you want to waive the fee and the
Yes, sir.
certificate of insurance, but
Yes, sir.
have a waiver
Each person.
each person must sign in order to
Individual,
participate
right.
at the Calkins class reunion.
Yes, sir.
That is his waiver, that is his motion. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. Are you ready to vote? All in favor say aye. Opposed, like sign.
Nay.
Motion is approved. J2. J2 is here with the 72-hour agenda distribution mandate. Our prime example is so current in our heads that when we had the snow days, and so this is why,
yeah, that was a good catch, because by policy, Deb went in here like a magic fairy and pulled 3 days worth of work together in one day to get the board packet to comply, to get to y'all in that time frame. So this is an amendment. Jim actually was like, hey, have you thought about it? And I said, no, that'd be a great idea. So having a emergency clause within that, so on those circumstances, it frees us up from that time frame that we could go ahead and get those to you, even if it's after that date.
We're going to sit, or we're going to just suspend the rules?
You can suspend the rules, or you can let it
I
sit.
mean, but we didn't even have the meeting when the snowstorm was here, and Deb had to go crazy trying to get everything
Right.
done.
'Cause we were at home.
We have the superintendent that has the authority to just, under the extreme weather emergency, it should, in my opinion only, would be more advantageous than trying to get all of us together to, do the 72-hour shindig.
I thought he was calling me at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
Yeah.
Make a motion to suspend the rules.
That's what happens when Jim don't answer.
For 30 days and approve J2.
Wait a minute, when you say suspend the rules, I mean, the
It
rules.
doesn't have to sit for the 30 days.
Ah,
Because it's a new policy, so it's got to
thank
sit
you.
30 days. So
Hey.
instead of making it sit, we're approving it.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome, sir.
Been moved and properly second. Everybody heard the motion?
Yes, sir.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion is approved.
So you're approving the
J2.
policy
The
changes
policy.
with,
Yeah,
and
yes, ma'am.
suspending the 30-day.
Right.
Hold back time for
them-
us to think
for them
about
to
it.
sit.
So
Yes,
if
ma'am.
we have a tornado tonight, Chad's in charge.
That's right.
Nobody calls me at 5 in the morning.
That's right.
We just don't get our board document for 72 hours. J3, dropout prevention plan review. Oh, there you go.
Good evening.
Hey, John.
Yeah, this has already been approved, but we had a request to just give a brief overview of the dropout prevention plan. So I'm gonna ask Bobby Banks, he's online. He is our special projects coordinator, and part of his duties is dropout prevention. So I'm gonna ask him to give you a brief overview, to go over the 3 goals that we selected as a district, and some of the strategies that will address those 3 goals and how we will move forward. Mr. Banks?
You're on mute.
You gotta turn something on.
No sound.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you, Dr. McGee. Good evening, everyone. Just wanted to talk a little bit about the dropout prevention plan. First of all, I'm about to thank you for working in Office of Innovation, and I'm a special project coordinator. So we had to put the dropout prevention plan together. We met with group stakeholders and in-house stakeholders to come up with some determining factors or the indicators of how we identify who are at risk of dropping out. And so some of those indicators were the educational indicators, like attendance rate, retention, and so forth of different grade levels. Also the behavioral pieces and poor performance. And so with that, we use the indicators to pull data and develop some goals and strategies. And so our first goal is May 2021, the Vicksburg Warren School District, along with community stakeholders, increase graduation rate by 2%, providing all students the opportunity to experience active success at all grade levels. And some of this, well, right now, our current graduation rate is, and I'm very excited to report this, 86.85. And I think that's a really big milestone for this.
Say it again, say it again.
No doubt.
That's both schools? That's a
That's combined graduation, yes.
That's a combined graduation rate.
Yep. And it's gonna be higher, this graduating crew coming through right now. It's a beautiful thing. When you make right decisions for kids and you do what the process needs, the results show up.
Absolutely. And so some of the strategies that we use to get to that point, and we're still using, are the school and community collaboration in our academy model. So we use those career days, the individualized success plan, things like the River City Early College, the 4 exit strategies, our college and career readiness course that was just implemented, I think, this year, our ACT work keys, our tutoring, multi-tier systems of support, the Leader in Me, of course, alternate options, the career and technical education and full enrollment courses. So those are some of the things that helped us get to that 86.85.
Just say 87, I'm good with that.
It is 87.
All right, so next goal is the Vicksburg Warren School District faculty and staff, with the assistance from my dropout prevention coordinator, will use strategies seen below with fidelity to reduce the dropout rate from 13.6 to 10% by May 2021. We haven't gotten this data in, but it looks like our projected dropout rate for 2020, and it's a year lag, so that's why we don't have the 2021, but this is projected to be 10% as of now.
Yeah, we got a phone call from one of the companies we do business with, which was School Status, and he goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "I do business with 138 districts in the state, and you got the biggest decrease in your dropout rate." He said, "What are you doing?" Of course, we got to go through this plan, and we talked about the academies and the structure of the high school, all the things that we're doing through Leader and Me. And in addition to that, we've got a team of community members, healthcare providers, our security folks. We have an at-risk council where we come in and we pull those metrics down, and we have individual focused conversations about each one of those kids, what we can do. Bobby and Lindsay, that is their focus. So they spend all amounts of their day trying to make sure that they find solutions for kids to make it to graduation. So
Bobby, can I ask you a question? Are you concerned that with a full year of virtual, that dropout number may be crazy because kids really didn't, there were a lot of kids that were virtual this year, and performance-wise, when they come back in the classroom, there's discussion of where they'll be, if they're going to measure up to where they were. Are you concerned about this number next year?
Not so much. Our principals have a really good measure on, those students who are, who are
at risk.
Who are at risk. And not only our principals, but Ms. Stephanie Wilson, who is our early warning systems person. She is really, making sure that the MTSS and all of that crew is making sure that progress monitoring piece is in place, and we're moving forward in the right direction.
One of the other benefits that we have is we're on a 5x5 with both high schools. So in a traditional setting, when you only had high school to get Carnegie units, if you missed a class or two, you really got behind and you couldn't graduate with your crew. That's not where we sit now. We have a 5x5, so you can get 40 credit hours in addition to that. With grade results, we can roll on 2 credits in the summer. Plus, we have 6 Carnegie units that are available at junior high. So there are multiple opportunities within that same time frame now where we can go back in and catch any of those kids. When you're talking about high school courses, they're really relegated to Carnegie units, which are not necessarily, kind of like an elementary mindset, things kind of build on each other. Now, literacy skills and numeric math computation skills all play into success in those classes, but it's not like a scaffolded. So if you miss, chemistry 1, obviously chemistry 2 isn't there for you to be, but we do have those gaps where we can fill those in. As a matter of fact, that was the topic of discussion with the principals. We had Tammy, Tamika, and Eric on, and we met for about an hour around that specific topic, and how do we go back in and create those lists within that cohort. Anybody in breach of not graduation, we put individual plans in place for that child. And it could be a scheduling, it could be, some online opportunities, tons of options, but we got that space now with the 5x5, so.
Okay. And to move to goal number 3, by May 2021, kindergarten, first grade, and second grade will only retain 5% of the students in their respective grades by following the strategies below. So what we're already doing, and some of the things that some of our goals is a parental engagement. We're looking at data conversations and conferences with parents and teachers and interventionists to create a plan for those students individually. We're looking at open house as a tool to engage our parents. Also, classroom instructional practices, guided reading, phonics, implementation, guided math, and engage in mathematical practices. And last but not least, I think is our community involvement, our Excel by 5 model, and the kindergarten for a day, where our superintendent talked about earlier, professional development for Head Start programs and United Way. So we're doing a great job. I just believe that we're doing a great job here in tracking and progress monitoring to make sure that, we provide the best opportunities for our students and get them college, career, and life prepared.
On the 5% that you spoke of,
Mm-hmm.
the 5%, did you say that was kindergarten?
Yes,
Okay.
Kindergarten, first and second grade.
Okay, on that 5%, how early are we recognizing that they are not moving up to par, and you've told us what the strategies are, But, you know, catching it early is the key to them progressing, so they will not have to be retained not only 1 year, but 2 years. And as Ms. Bullitt was speaking of earlier, there is a percentage of the virtual students, which is a high percentage, that's probably going to be retained, because the retention is probably, they turned on the computer, but they did not understand the model that was going on this year. So that's going to be a significant problem that every school, not just us, every school in the United States is going to be faced with.
Yeah, I think teachers got to be really prepared for that for next year.
Well, and that's that 6-week robust. And in the data that we've pulled at this point on benchmark assessment, there is not a huge gap.
Wow.
But inside of that, we're still providing those robust, and we plan on inviting upwards of minimum 600 students at specific grade levels to be able to come in and fill any of those gaps, for that gap. But one of the things we do also, Mr. Sturgis, is we have first steps. So kids, as soon as they can go to a early ed program if they have developmentally delays, Riggs, for example, because I was an administrator, the first day of his eligibility, he received his first PTOT. So we have a very transparent mechanism through that. It's on our website. We actively seek parents in that. So a lot of our kids that are that have disabilities or delays that parents are seeing have options even before they come to our pre-K. The partnership with the Excel by 5, that is also another avenue to which we do that. We share those resources as supports. We have tons of meetings with the community about that, about getting the kids ready. So as far as early intervention, that is where our sweet spot is, I believe.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Absolutely.
We are at K 1/16th section, late and upcoming payments.
Well, there are none. If you look at your packet, you will see that we did have the Parks and Recreation the March 23rd due date. But my understanding is that they always delay and they pay at the end, so end of the month. Because all three of those, they're not in default for the 30 days yet, but they do pay up by the time or before that time.
Then they make me pay my taxes by February the 1st. Unless I get fined. Okay. I just thought I'd add that. Okay. Nothing we can do about that at this time because you've not, you've mailed your notices.
Correct.
Okay. We're on, let's see, Mr. Attorney, I believe it is. Oh, Good Shepherd. Mr. Attorney?
Thank you, Mr. President. I decided to go ahead and bring this forward. I know the Good Shepherd's president or director rather, and attorney have, president of the board and the director have contacted me about this and have said they're ready to go. As late as just a couple of days ago, we're asking one final question about the fact that we had hazard insurance on the building. They will cover the items that are in the building, but they wanted to make sure that we had insurance on the building, and we do. I confirmed that with Mr. Campbell, I think yesterday or day before. And this before you, they have not formally requested, but rather than waiting another month, I thought I would see if you're satisfied. This is what we discussed previously. We could approve it tentative, of course, to their board accepting it. At least in principle, I think they're okay with it. They've indicated from the two people I've spoken with that they are. And we would need the resolution that you see attached to it also approved in order to lease it in this manner. The only thing, I do note that I've made one mistake. I've got it approved by the Warren County Board of Supervisors. This is not 16 sections, so I don't think it's got to be approved by the county, but I will make that change if you approve this in form and you approve the resolution.
We all, we have any questions for the attorney?
I make a motion, we approve the Good Shepherd lease and resolution.
Been moved and properly second. Are you ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion is approved.
President, I make a motion to go into closed session during the end of the executive session.
Can I step in before you do that? To answer your question about the SAME, camp. for
Yes,
the
sir.
kids,
Yes, sir.
I pulled it up here. It is in Vicksburg. And if I'm remembering correctly, I was involved in this one year. It's kind of scattered between Erdek and the district and division downtown. They kind of bounce it around. And there are requirements for the kids. They have to have, they have to be a starting junior or a senior for the fall of next year. They're in this STEM track. And there's other requirements, like a minimum GPA of 3.2, not required, but recommended kind of thing. And they have not previously attended a SAME camp. Apparently, these are all over the United States. They just have 4 divisions, the Army, Air Force.
Them other ones.
I mean, it's not necessarily all the armed forces, but the engineering forces.
Yeah.
So, you want more information, I've got it.
Yeah, no, thank you very much for that.
How many can participate, does it say?
Yeah, does it say, we're trying to figure out how many from the Vicksburg Warren School District is actually gonna participate in it?
It doesn't say.
Okay, we can get that information, someone can get it for us. Okay, that's fine, sir.
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Kimball.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and properly second. All in favor say aye. Opposed, like sign. This meeting is adjourned.